Angkor was the capital of the Khmer Empire, and it was enormous. And the whole empire, the whole capital of that empire.
Deep under Angkor Wat, researchers discovered a secret vault that was never meant to be opened. What they found inside challenges long-held beliefs about the temple's past. This new discovery is already rewriting history, and the questions it raises are even bigger than the answers. Join us as we reveal what was discovered in the vault. The design of Angkor Wat. A king named Surya Varman II, who ruled the Khmer Empire in Cambodia 900 years ago, wanted to build a spectacular memorial that would last for generations. He envisioned a temple that would stand out above all others and become a lasting symbol of his legacy. What he built was not just a regular temple, but a huge stone representation of the world. This incredible creation came to be known as Angkor Wat. From far away, the towers of Angkor Wat look like huge lotus flowers reaching up to the sky. But up close, you can see that every block and carving follows a specific pattern with incredible precision. Even today, engineers are amazed at how this was accomplished without modern tools. Angkor Wat is considered one of the most intricate buildings ever constructed, especially since it was built without steel, cranes, or computers. Angkor Wat was not built for regular worship. Instead, it was made to mirror Mount Meru, a sacred mountain at the center of the world where gods live. The temple's 5 towers were designed to look like mountaintops. The gardens and terraces represented various levels of existence: the sky, the human realm, the spirit world, and the divine domain. Climbing up the temple felt like progressing through these layers one by one. The builders aimed to demonstrate how individuals could approach the realm of the gods. A large body of water surrounded the temple, which was created by workers digging 4 moats. These moats acted as mirrors reflecting light and symbolized the cosmic sea that separated humans from gods. Along with their symbolic meaning, the moats also had a practical purpose of protecting the temple by absorbing heat, preventing flooding, and helping the structure withstand harsh weather conditions over many years. The Khmer engineers skillfully blended beauty and science in a way that seemed natural but mandated extensive knowledge and expertise. Inside the temple, the walls were covered in carvings that told stories spanning hundreds of feet. These carvings depicted goddesses, battles, and dancers in motion, as well as the king with divine beings. The carvings served as a form of both spiritual devotion and a political statement, portraying the king as connected to the gods. Questioning the king's authority was seen as disrupting the balance of the universe by the people of the empire. The building of Angkor Wat is still seen as a remarkable feat of ancient engineering. The sandstone for the temple was brought from quarries over 50 kilometers away. Workers moved very heavy blocks without the help of cement, glues, or modern machines. The stones were fitted together so precisely that there are very small gaps between them. The structure has endured almost a millennium of rain, heat, and weather without falling apart. Every element of the temple, such as stones, walls, corners, and staircases, held significance. Each part served as a lasting message. Collectively, they demonstrated a belief in reaching the realm of the gods through dedication, discipline, and meticulous construction. Angkor Wat represented devotion, skill, and foresight. The balance of the temple was so perfect that even nature appeared to honor it. Even if a place appears to be flawless, it may contain hidden secrets. Despite the peaceful appearance of the moats and intricate carvings, subtle hints indicate that there is more to the design. Locals spoke of areas where the ground seemed hollow when walked upon and mentioned mysterious dimming lamps. Even on calm evenings, they mentioned forbidden areas that were left untouched. According to these tales, a location designed to mimic paradise may also be concealing something sinister. Over time, the whispers about Angkor Wat gradually increased. The perfect design, serene atmosphere, intricate details, and mysterious spaces gave the impression that the temple held mysterious secrets. Many believed that there was something concealed beneath the surface by the builders intentionally. As a result, the whispers started to gain more interest, and a lot of people became eager to uncover the hidden mysteries within the ancient structure. Hidden echoes off Angkor. For many years, the people living near Angkor Wat did not view it as a tourist attraction or a place of happiness. Instead, they believed it had a sense of being alive. When the wind blew through its stones, it felt like it was breathing. When thunder hit its tall towers, it seemed like ancient forces were awakening. The ground near the rice fields also emitted a strange hollow sound that locals steered clear of. They did not investigate further or try to comprehend it, but simply looked away. Local families whispered about certain areas of land where even birds wouldn't land. Monks cautioned against walking near particular walls at night due to a heavy, eerie atmosphere, as if something unseen lurked beneath. These stories were not seen as mere ghost stories. They were shared as valuable teachings, carefully handed down through generations. The lesson remained unchanged for centuries. Never disturb what lies dormant beneath the surface. The quiet respect among the group continued until it was interrupted by one man. In 1860, a French naturalist named Henri Mouhot ventured into the dense Cambodian forest. His purpose for being there was not for wealth or fame, but rather to collect plants, insects, and cultural artifacts to send back to museums in Europe. However, the challenging conditions of the forest made his mission difficult. The intense heat felt like a heavy blanket on his skin. Leeches slowly crawled up his legs, and the soft, waterlogged ground destroyed his boots. As he walked, the vegetation became denser, creating a green barrier that seemed endless and overpowering. Mouhot came across some unusual shapes amidst the lush greenery. The shapes had distinct lines, smooth stone edges, and pointed tips. As he cleared the vines blocking his way, a whole new landscape appeared before him. It felt like a curtain had been pulled back to reveal a massive city made of stone, quietly aging with time. Faces carved into the walls stared off into the distance. Serpents were intricately carved into the steps, twisting along the staircases leading into dark passageways. He was stunned by the sight when he entered the open area. He later described it as more impressive than any church in Europe. His enthusiasm turned to bewilderment as he continued to investigate. He found strange discrepancies in the intricate design of the structure. Certain tunnels abruptly led to smooth walls, suggesting a change of plans during construction. Some passages were sealed with heavy mortar, as if someone had tried to block them from the inside. He came across rooms that trailed off into eerie silence. The drawings he made reflected the same sense of confusion, depicting a large structure that seemed to conceal itself. When Mouhot sent his drawings and notes to Paris, people were surprised. Scholars and explorers found it hard to believe that an ancient civilization in Asia had created something as big and intricate as Angkor. Newspapers referred to it as the Lost Cathedral of the East. More explorers began visiting the site, conducting surveys and creating detailed maps. Angkor captured the interest of many people in Europe. Not all of Mouhot's observations were published. Early sketches of the region omitted odd details, such as the strange indentations near the Western Gate. Some drawings and papers went missing from official records. Officials said they were misplaced, but others suspected they were purposely taken out. Some thought the missing information was too deliberate to be accidental, as if it was an effort to conceal ignored alerts. In the meantime, residents of nearby villages still stayed away from the deeper sections of the site. They reported that workers who touched specific walls fell ill inexplicably. Lights went out in areas with no airflow. One worker even said his chisel seemed to resist the stone, as if the building itself did not want to be opened. Carvings of Naga, the serpent guardians, were found around many sealed-off sections, with their eyes looking downward. It was a warning to those familiar with local beliefs that these were not doors to be unlocked, but walls designed to contain something within. Foreign researchers continued to explore, map, and repair sections of the site. They were impressed by the stunning architecture above ground, but were unaware of the significance of what lay beneath their feet. The secrets buried for centuries in the structure were unknown to them. For centuries, it had been revered as a place of quiet contemplation by kings, monks, and communities. But now the site was being eagerly studied and uncovered by the rest of the world. For many years, there were rumors that the ground under Angkor was hollow. People thought there was heavy air down there and restless ancient spirits. But with advances in technology, scientists started exploring deeper. They used new tools to clear the dense jungle and examine the earth beneath the temple. What was once considered superstition began to show as real evidence. The ancient land of Angkor, filled with secrets and mysteries, finally began to make sense after many years of cautionary tales. The hidden signals in the ground completely altered our perception of the historical site. Scientists uncovered a new perspective on Angkor's history and its significance. It became clear that the tales passed down through generations were more than just myths. They held truths about the ancient civilization and its hidden secrets. And the discoveries made underground made the world view Angkor in a different light, as the most hidden secrets were not visible on the surface. These secrets were located underneath the temple, in chambers that had remained unopened for hundreds of years, the secret shape beneath the jungle. For many years, Angkor Wat's true appearance was not visible because it was so famous. The temple was well known, photographed extensively, restored numerous times, and visited by millions of people. However, its full size and original design were not easily recognizable. Thick jungle and layers of soil concealed the surroundings, and the shapes of the ancient world were buried by storms, plants, and time for centuries. To the observer, Angkor Wat seemed like the only impressive structure amid vast greenery. But this perspective only presented a fraction of the whole picture. Scientists started using lasers instead of traditional tools, causing a significant change in their methods. In the early 2010s, researchers used LiDAR technology, which involves sending millions of laser pulses per second towards the ground. They attached this technology to planes and flew over forests, with each laser pulse hitting various elements before bouncing back to the sensors. By analyzing this data, computers could strip away the layers of the jungle and reconstruct what was hidden underneath, essentially making the forest transparent. The initial images on the screen were startlingly different. Where there were once trees, there were now clear pathways. Instead of a dense forest, there were roads. The chaotic mix of roots and soil had transformed into organized shapes. Unexpected patterns emerged. The jungle floor was deliberately constructed, not random. These findings challenged previous beliefs. Rather than just one temple surrounded by wilderness, researchers found something much bigger. Not just Angkor Wat, but also a city that extended over hundreds of square kilometers appeared. The digital map showed a complex system of roads, canals, neighborhoods, and structures that were too massive to be seen by a person on foot. In the past, no explorer could grasp the size of it by just looking. Angkor was not just the biggest religious building in the world. It was the center of a huge and overlooked ancient city, on par with the grand capitals of ancient times. The new perspective changed how people understood the Khmer Empire's operations. It revealed a landscape centered around water. The builders constructed canals to bring water to rice fields and large reservoirs to store monsoon rain for longer periods. Additional canals were designed to circulate water through the city to cool it during hot weather. This advanced water management system predated electricity and modern engineering by centuries. Previously, experts had dubbed Angkor as a hydraulic city due to the effectiveness of its water control methods. However, laser data now showed the extent of this system, demonstrating that the city's layout was heavily influenced by water in ways previously unknown. However, the most shocking discovery was not on the surface. It was under the temple. The LiDAR scans revealed hidden structures beneath the main sanctuary of Angkor Wat. These structures were not natural formations found in the ground. They were distinct, precise, and geometric in shape. They corresponded perfectly with the temple's existing foundations. These shapes were not randomly placed, but intentionally designed and positioned. Researchers were surprised by what they observed. Some experts thought the shapes could be foundation deposits, small ceremonial holes dug by ancient builders to bring luck to new buildings. However, foundation deposits were typically shallow and small, not large geometric spaces extending under the most sacred part of the temple. Some people questioned if the formations could be natural, but the perfect symmetry suggested otherwise. Nature doesn't usually create such precise lines in such perfect alignment. There was a disagreement among experts about the findings. Some experts thought the data was inconclusive and preferred to wait for more evidence. On the other hand, some experts believed the patterns were too distinct to ignore. They thought the images showed evidence of intentional construction that had been forgotten over time. The results were so clear that they almost looked like they had been artificially created and buried for centuries. However, the scans were authentic and potentially confirmed rumors of hidden rooms under Angkor Wat. These new discoveries prompted further inquiries. The researchers proposed that the Khmer architects could have built Angkor Wat to reach up towards the sky and down into the ground. The part of the temple above ground symbolized a holy realm striving for Vishnu's heaven. Any structures below ground may have served a distinct purpose, perhaps intended to remain hidden. The contrast between what was above and below was very noticeable. The towers reached up towards heaven, while underneath something mysterious was hidden away. The laser images couldn't show what was contained within these structures, but they did indicate that the ancient builders intentionally left empty spaces directly beneath the most sacred point. The latest information transformed the way experts viewed Angkor Wat. It was now seen as more than just a beautiful stone structure. It was recognized as a large, well-planned city that relied on water engineering, urban planning, and architectural decisions that were more complex than previously thought. The dense jungle had kept these secrets hidden for many years, leading people to accept what they could see on the surface. However, once the hidden layers were revealed, the previous understanding became obsolete. What emerged was a larger, more structured, and more mysterious complex than anticipated. New findings revealed that Angkor Wat's beauty was just a small part of the bigger picture. Its actual layout extended beyond the temple boundaries and went underground. The surrounding city was designed according to a large blueprint. The mysterious structures beneath the temple have sparked ongoing discussions among experts. The LiDAR scans, with each laser pulse, have contributed to changing what is known about this incredible ancient site. The hidden path of the mountain. By 2020, simple interest had transformed into a complete obsession with the ancient temple known as Angkor Wat. The stories circulating, the confusing data, the missing plans, and all the vague details seemed to suggest that there was something hidden beneath the temple. People had been marveling at the temple from the outside, exploring its passages, and examining its carvings for years. Travelers from all over the world had snapped pictures, while monks had peacefully prayed and walked its paths. However, no one had ever attempted to look beyond the surface of the stone itself. The situation changed when a team of archaeologists, engineers, and digital imaging experts from various countries joined forces. They utilized advanced tools like ground-penetrating radar and microseismic sensors to uncover what was beneath the surface. By applying these tools to the site, they were able to investigate the temple in a manner that had never been done before. Their research focused on two key areas: the Western Causeway, which served as the main entrance for pilgrims visiting the temple for hundreds of years, and the Central Sanctuary, the core of Angkor Wat, constructed in ancient times for the deities. The machinery functioned like sensitive ears, listening to the ground. As the waves traveled up and down, they brought back small sounds and colors. The signals were gentle pulses that revealed the hidden areas beneath the stone. It was as if we were hearing the heartbeat of the earth, silent for centuries. Each scan transformed the ancient quietness into valuable data layers. Initially, everything appeared to be as anticipated. The base seemed to be sturdy, and the ground underneath was compacted. These were typical indicators found in established and well-constructed buildings. Someone analyzing the scans in the beginning would have thought that the construction followed standard practices. There were no indications of any unexpected occurrences. Things changed after that moment. Rather than revealing solid rock, the sensors started picking up on empty spaces. These weren't just small gaps, they were long horizontal openings that ran beneath the sanctuaries. The shape of these gaps was bizarre. But what made them even more peculiar was the fact that the stone lining the gaps was thicker than the stone used above ground. It appeared as though the most intricate work had been reserved for the hidden parts of the temple rather than the visible parts. The finding was confusing. It did not make sense why someone would work so hard to support something that couldn't be seen. Why strengthen areas that weren't meant to be accessed? Why protect something that shouldn't have been there in the first place according to existing plans? Various individuals came up with various explanations. Some thought that these areas were hidden burial sites. Others suggested that they may have been utilized for significant ceremonies. However, as the scans progressed, it raised even more uncertainties. The empty spaces were not haphazard. There were pathways that extended out like veins, all converging towards a specific spot beneath the main tower. The more they examined the layout, the more evident it became that there was a deliberate intention behind it. Something unexpected occurred next. During the scanning process, a portion of the western bridge unexpectedly collapsed. Though not a major destruction, it surprised everyone. The bridge had been strong before, but it suddenly gave out. Fortunately, no one got hurt. Nevertheless, the incident prompted the team to review their equipment and procedures. Shortly after, some sensors malfunctioned and certain connections stopped working. Some devices completely shut down, almost like the ground was pushing them away. When the power came back on for one of the scanners, an image popped up on the screen. It was faint, but you could still make it out. The image showed a carving design that looked oddly familiar to the viewers. It seemed to be Naga snakes coiled around human figures. As soon as the design appeared, a few of the workers took a step back. They had seen these symbols before. The same markings were on the doors of the ancient temple. To them, these symbols were a sign of danger. They believed that disturbing them would awaken something below the temple that had been dormant for hundreds of years, and that this awakening would have consequences. The group felt tense because of their fear, but they remained focused on their work. Journalists stood on the sidelines, eager for any updates. The project funders expected definite outcomes. Despite the increasing pressure, the scientists persisted in their efforts. They decided to expand the scanning area and send stronger pulses into the ground to decipher the significance of the shapes. The radar images became clearer and more defined. The lines on the screen sharpened, revealing a single corridor leading from the center platform. The corridor descended downward, clearly contrasting against the surrounding rock formation. It was not a natural crevice or fracture, it was a clear pathway through. The excavation started in the morning. The initial layers were full of roots and pieces of debris. Removing them felt like untangling a tight knot. Each action uncovered more tangled roots or shattered fragments. The entrance was difficult to open. It appeared as if nature had attempted to tightly close off the area. After a lot of time, the upper layer of soil was finally broken. Underneath, a small opening made of stone became visible. It was only big enough to see, and it went into complete darkness. A rush of cold air came out as if the underground had been quiet for a very long time. The noise of the jungle became quieter. The wind also seemed to calm down. The mountain where the gods lived had been quiet for 900 years, but now it was stirring. Whatever was hidden in the deep silence below had the power to change everything people thought they knew about Angkor Wat and why it was built. The sealed chamber under the mountain. The entrance was very narrow, allowing only one person to pass through at a time. Clearing out the stones blocking the tunnel was a slow and agonizing process, similar to trying to extract teeth from a stubborn mountain. Sensors placed at the opening indicated that the air inside was stale and lacking in oxygen compared to the outside air, suggesting that it had been sealed off since the 11th century without any openings. When the final slab was moved, a deep and loud hiss came from the darkness, like the mountain was breathing after being silent for centuries. The scent that followed was strong and uncomfortable. It was damp, metallic, and not pleasant, causing the team to stop in their tracks. Their lights illuminated clouds of dust swirling in the air, so thick it seemed intentional. The walls around them were coated in soot. Every surface appeared burned, darkened, blistered, and damaged from intense heat that had scarred the stone. Inside the chamber, breathing felt dangerous. Each breath seemed risky due to the thin and stale air. The team later reported that the heat in the sealed area was almost unbearable. It weighed heavily on them, making the eerie silence even more uncomfortable. The presence of history felt incredibly close, almost tangible. The silence felt ancient, older than any memory or the temple above. As they shone their lights on the walls of the chamber, shapes slowly became visible. Carvings of Naga, serpent beings, wrapped around figures. The snakes were depicted with their sharp teeth biting into the arms and throats of the people they held. These Naga were originally symbols of protection, guarding sacred water and defending purity. However, in this depiction, they appeared more menacing than protective. Rather than safeguarding life, they seemed to be threatening it. The message conveyed by the carvings was clear and powerful. This was not a welcoming place, but a place of caution. At the end of the room was a big stone door that was different from regular doors. It did not have hinges, a handle, or any signs of being opened before. The edges were sealed with hardened mortar, and there were faint markings on the surface. The team could see that these markings were old and hard to decipher, but they knew they had significance at one point. It took a lot of effort to break through the seal, with hours of chiseling and drilling. Finally, when the door cracked open, the sound reverberated through the room like a deep, ancient sigh. The team came to a halt when they noticed the first ray of light streaming into the room through the door. They were shocked to see what had been hidden for centuries: piles of bones. The floor was covered with bones, which were carefully arranged in circles around a single altar, almost as if they were purposely placed in patterns. Skulls formed circular lines, ribs were positioned around them, and wrists were tied with copper wire. Many of the bones were broken, heads were separated from bodies, and spines showed clean breaks. There was no indication that these were peaceful burials. The room did not give off a sense of rest or respect. Instead, the bones revealed a history of violence, suggesting that they were victims of repeated killings rather than funerals. It seemed like there was a long cycle of bloodshed, with one sacrifice leading to another. Several metal pots with a dark residue were placed on the altar. Tests conducted in the laboratory later revealed dried blood and proteins from both animals and humans. The results confirmed the team's suspicions that the chamber had been used for violent rituals. Next to the altar, worn inscriptions in Sanskrit and ancient Khmer explained the function of the room. The message was straightforward. The blood below the temple was intended to satisfy the gods, and disturbing the chamber would reawaken their hunger. The significance was unsettling, not due to belief or superstition, but because of the evidence in the room. It revealed a harsh reality of the past, showing a time when fear and faith intertwined into something sinister. After the initial surprise faded, a silence filled the room. The team was at a loss for words. Some of the researchers were in tears as the truth they uncovered was too much to bear. Others were hesitant to move on. A few left the room unable to carry on. The truth was harsh, and it affected everyone who witnessed it. They had hoped to discover history, but instead, they came face to face with a wound that seemed to never have mended. The finding brought back a painful memory. Angkor Wat, known as a heavenly structure made of stone, was constructed on top of burial sites containing more remains than previously known. The magnificent temple, loved by many for its beauty, had a darker history hidden beneath its exterior, revealing layers of human behavior, decisions, and traditions. The line between history and mystery becomes blurred in this place. The chamber displayed remnants of a tough past. It conveyed information without words, using carvings, bones, soot, heat, and silence. It showed that there may be hidden truths behind every impressive building, tucked away in secret rooms, waiting for a courageous soul to discover them. In conclusion, the chamber was a place where the passage of time was evident in every aspect. Each scratch on the stone, scorch mark on the wall, pile of bones, and faded inscription offered clues to a bigger story. Finding these artifacts did not diminish the temple's significance. Instead, it added layers to its history. It revealed that even places considered holy can have dark secrets. That's the challenge. The truth doesn't always make itself known loudly. It stays hidden, waiting to be uncovered and brought to light. In the sealed chamber, something unexpected occurred.